Hi Gareth, thanks for your time and thanks for being here.
Well, thank you.
The first time I met you, I don't know if you recall, it was like 2010 or something like that. You were in a real film festival promoting Monsters.
It's kind of been non-stop, yeah. Did Monsters, shot it all in Mexico, and then kind of ended up promoting it around the world, and never in my wildest dreams. We used to joke to each other like, what would have to happen to your career for this to have been worth it? Because it was like 2 years of your life. And I said, well, maybe if I got to direct a TV show, you know, that'd be like a success. And I think if someone had said to me then, like, oh, in 6 years, a Star Wars movie will be out and it'll be your film, I wouldn't have believed it. It was crazy.
I will not fail.
This is the movie that you signed to make? Is this the movie that you wanted to make?
I think if you get to do absolutely everything you'd ever want to do, the movie would not be that great. A lot of my favorite films, when you look back, you hear of all the restrictions and the struggle, you know, of trying to get that movie made. And in that is what was born something really great. And so it's never an easy process making a film. And the great thing about doing Star Wars is that you know there's this inbuilt audience for it. Like, you know it's not going to just disappear into the ether. You know, the world's going to see this. And so you know you're going to be living with this movie for the rest of your life. So everybody was just like going for broke, and like nobody ever gave up. We just kept always trying to make it the best it could be.
If you're really doing this, I want to help.
So far, everybody that talks about your style, especially Kathleen Kennedy at Star Wars Celebration, she said, Gareth has a great sense of scale, a great sense of epicness of these landscapes. What kind of movies did you watch when growing up to have this, to develop this kind of style? If that's your style, I don't know.
There's a very obscure film that people don't know called Baraka. It's an incredibly epic movie. And that was a reference that we used a lot during this film. We talk about shots like, you know, something from Baraka. And the guy that directed that actually did some of the cinematography on Revenge of the Sith. I feel like a lot of films have all this great scale to them, and the great thing about filmmaking is you can have different perspectives on the same event, and I really enjoy the contrast between those perspectives. You see something from a distance and it can be beautiful and amazing, and then suddenly you're in it and it's hell, and you just want out and you want it to stop, and then suddenly you see it at a distance again and it looks great and fun. It's in the contrast and the differences that make something come alive.
And in this movie, you guys have a lot going on, right? You have the Kung Fu guy, you have the funny robot, you have the battles, you have the heist movie. And how do you set a tone, a single tone for this movie?
I think it finds its own sort of voice eventually. We had all kinds of conversations about the style. There was a time where we like, should we just be directing this like it's the original Star Wars style or Empire Strikes Back? When you watch those films back again, for a contemporary audience, I love them to death. I think they're masterpieces, but for a modern audience, they're a little bit slow sometimes.
This is such a drag.
We also wanted to create a feeling of realism, like that these worlds really exist and you can go there and be in them and explore them more like a documentary. The style we ended up with that I think worked really well was a mix between this sort of handheld, embedded film crew that's kind of following the characters with sort of epic, like more considered cinematic, classic Star Wars style filmmaking, and I used to think that this scene would be the sort of documentary thing and this one would be the classical thing, and then as we kept filming we just started mixing them up until it didn't matter what scene it was just what was right for the shot.
Save the rebellion! Save the dream!
It's been some 30 years since Carrie Fisher wore that slave Leia bikini. And this kind of fetish has been very present in fantasy movies and space opera movies. But if you watch Force Awakens and all these movies, the women are really serious. It's not some fetishist at all. So is that a conversation that you guys had on set making the movie?
I was never into Princess Leia because she looked like my sister. My sister looks a lot like Carrie Fisher when she was young. I think it's a different era now. We wanted to reflect that in the cast, you know, as well. This is about the rebellion being fractured, and there are different sections of the rebellion that are struggling to kind of come together. In one section you have the X-Wing pilots from A New Hope, you know, but in another section you have these kind of more helicopter kind of Vietnam style guys, and in another section you've got more like Middle East type people, and so we just wanted the cast to have this different eclectic mix of people, so it just felt more real and more like the world that we live in.
Do you get to choose the Easter eggs, or is that something that people from Disney or Lucasfilm that say, oh, you can do this, you can do that?
Everybody involved wants to do a little thing, And so they end up coming in left, right and centre. I don't want to give away, obviously they spoil it, because it's just as you're watching the film. But I like the idea that people come to the movie initially, you know, because maybe they've heard there's chance of Darth Vader in it or the Death Star, and then they get sucked into our new characters and then get completely, you know, tangled up with our storyline, and then once that starts happening, then you start giving them the Easter eggs. It's just an extra for fun. It's not the reason to go see the movie.
People are crazy about Easter eggs and the fan theories. Did you end up reading some fan theory that turned out to be true?
There's a lot of speculation on the internet, and I sometimes look at it because it's just curious. A lot of it is completely wrong. The odd person says something where you go, wow, okay, that's cool. And some people say things where you go, actually, that's a really good idea.
I know. Right?
All right, Gareth, thank you very much.
Thank you, thanks.
May the Force be with us.